The October issue of Down East magazine is now out, featuring a look at fall colors in Portland, a place not many people think of when they're looking for a great Maine foliage.
We discussed that and more with Down East Editor-in-Chief Will Grunwald and began our conversation talking about an article on the colorful people at the heart of Maine's whitewater rafting businesses.
We really wanted to, get inside the culture of it, the people who make it happen, who are guides and just avid recreationalists, the diehards who really make the whitewater scene tick.
And they're an interesting, colorful bunch who are in this business that, I don't know, I'm sure there are bad days in that line of work, but for those of us who are in other lines of work, it looks pretty darn terrific.
Yeah, they know how to have fun, and they're a passionate bunch. They love their rivers and the community around them. Yeah, it looks all right.
We are, of course, in foliage season in Maine. I think everybody has kind of their own favorite areas of the state to go to. Might be the Lakes region, might be the Rangeley Lakes, Moosehead, the coast, Aroostook, wherever. But you did something counterintuitive in this issue with a photographic look at foliage in Maine. What did you do?
Yeah, we went to the forest city, to Portland, and you're absolutely right. Normally in October it's our chance to show off fall foliage around the state, and we usually go somewhere far-flung for that. But Portland puts on quite a show of its own.
It really does. I think people will be surprised when they see the photos and they'll say, "Wow, that really is terrific foliage, and I wouldn't have expected to see that in the city."
Yeah, the genesis of the story was me walking around the city last fall thinking, this is beautiful.
I was going to ask who came up with the idea, because I think it's a good one, and so you're the man.
Well, I'm glad you liked it.
Let's end with an article that looks at Maine's recreational, legal cannabis business, which has been around now for 5 years. It is still kind of unsettled, still polarizing in ways. What we're trying to achieve in this article.
Yeah. So it's been 5 years since the first recreational shops opened. So, shops that don't require a medical license. And we wanted to just get a sense for how it's gone and what the state of the industry is now. The big takeaway, I think, was that even though the issue of legal marijuana is settled at a state level, it's still being duked out at a local level all around. Yeah, so this issue that looks kind of settled is indeed not.
One of the many interesting things in the article is the explanation and the description of how patchy the marijuana industry is in Maine, how the retail businesses are in Maine. There are communities that have got a lot of shops, and then of course there are many that have no shops.
Yeah, right. So anyone who's spent any amount of time driving around has noticed these dense clusters of shops. And the reason is that municipalities have to opt in to participating in the legal market. So they need an affirmative vote of their citizenship or their town council. And a high percentage of towns have not done that. So if you're an entrepreneur looking to open a shop, you don't have necessarily that many options, and you end up with these dense clusters.
I believe Jesse Ellison was the writer of this piece. When Jesse came back with the story, what was it that surprised you in your editorial eye?
That's a great question. Honestly, I think the biggest surprise was just how contentious the issue remains at the local level. The same lines of argument that played out in Augusta are now playing out in little towns all over Maine.
That's what struck me too. I'm interested by your answer, because that struck me too as I read the article. As I thought, boy, this has been around for 5 years. You'd think it would have the dust would have settled, but there's still a lot of things that remain, unsettled and controversial.
Yeah, no, and I suspect that's going to continue to be the case for a little while.
You'll find those stories and more in the October issue of Down East, which is out now.
We'll be right back with more 207.